Hi, welcome to my channel Mostly Knitting. If you're new here, this is a weekly podcast where I talk mostly about the knitting that I've been doing during the week and any other crafting if I happen to have done any. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back, and you'll notice that I'm in a slightly different location. So I'm recording still from home, but I'm recording in my daughter's bedroom because I have some renovations happening, and where I normally record is in the middle of the house and there's people coming and going, and I would definitely feel quite self-conscious if I was doing that as tradespeople were walking past. So it is Thursday the 27th of July 2023, and I'm recording in the southern suburbs of Sydney, Australia. So I'm going to get straight into what I'm making, because I am in my daughter's room and she's at work and probably due back in about an hour. So I want to try and get it done before she comes home and finds me in here. So I'll start with my finished objects. I'm wearing one of my finished objects. I have two finished objects this week. So I'm wearing the Audrey top by PetiteKnit, and I used, it was a black cotton yarn, 100% cotton, called Online Linie Clip. I sort of was rushing a bit, so I haven't got a lot of the details of what the yarn what the top weighs. So I'm going to put some of the details below, but I'll just show you the top. So I started with a provisional cast on here. So you can see a little bit of my, I'm wearing a strapless bra at the moment. You can see just a smidge of the bra. So not too bad, and you know, I'm certainly covered enough to be, you know, for modesty. So I did a provisional cast on here for the front and the back, and then I knit up, knit the back up, did the straps. So I saved, what do you call it, like I bound off these stitches but didn't bind off 4 on each side, and the same at the back, and did the straps from the front, from both of them to the front. I think I did 21 rows of, it's like a 4-stitch I-cord, and then I did a 3 needle bind off, and I was actually really happy with that, how that sits, and that looks quite neat. So I kept live stitches at the back as well, and the 3 needle bind off worked well, and it's still secure, and it's, you know, I've been wearing it as I've been getting ready today with the dressing gown over it because it's pretty cold. But I just had the heater going in my daughter's room and it's kind of nice and warm, so I'm all right at the moment. Because when you're in like a little enclosed space, it doesn't take long to heat the room up. So, and then of course, so I unpicked the provisional cast on both of them, and then I cast on, I think, 4 stitches under the sleeves. Sorry, 4 stitches for under the arms, and knit down. I just did a regular bind off, and I blocked it. Took a while to block it. Took a while for it to dry. I didn't pin it down or anything, so it is curling just a little bit. Not too bad. What I'd probably do is I might spray the bottom of it and actually pin it down and see if that helps with the curling a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy with it actually, and I was a little bit dubious. It's quite heavy. I mean, not super heavy in the sense that there's no sleeves or anything, but for the size that it is, it's, you know, reasonably heavy. It's I haven't sort of done my final check of gauge and measurements, but I'll do that and put the details below. But yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I would make another one. It's, you know, I wouldn't be wearing it to work, but you know, on the weekend, you know, like I've got it with jeans on at the moment because I'm home and it's winter, but if I was wearing it out, I'd wear it with, you know, like a denim skirt or a pair of shorts or something, and my Birks, something like that. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with it. And so I'm wearing a strapless bra, and that's completely fine. I'm really happy. So I think that's it for that one. My other finished object, I will just quickly get changed and show that one. Right, so my second finished object is the mini mock neck tank by Jessie Maed Designs, and I knit it out of one skein of Wollmeise twin in the colourway Oohm, and I used the same needles that the pattern recommended, the 3.5mm for the body and 2.75mm for the ribbing, and I think I only had like just maybe a gram left of yarn, so very little yarn. So I knit it exactly the same as the pattern said in terms of construction. And, you know, I don't think I did any changes. I mentioned in the last video that on the left side I'd accidentally knit 4 extra rows, so I had to rip that out and graft, and that worked out okay. I went to try to fix it up a little bit, and because I had 2 threads of yarn, one from where I'd cut it and one from where I'd grafted, I couldn't tell which one was which, and I thought, oh, actually, you know what, I just don't care enough to try to fix it up a little bit. So I've got one stitch that kind of looks like a pearl bump there, but honestly it's way back here, you don't even see it from the front. My hair's likely to cover it and I don't care enough, to be honest. You know, like if it was right here, yes, I'd be fixing it, but back there I just can't be bothered. So yes, I did have to sort of do a little finagling on that. I was a little bit concerned because this edging is like a 1x1 rib for the last 5 stitches and a slip stitch on the edges. It's a little, just naturally by the nature of the stitch, it's a little looser here. But if I pull it down, sorry, so I'm wearing a strapless bra underneath it, but you can see, you can't see my bra. I'm actually pretty happy with it. I was a little unsure, but so these are reasonably high-waisted pants. So you see that's my belly button there, and it covers, so with one skein of the Oohm I managed to, and I knit the size medium, and but I only cast on 7 stitches under the arms instead of 15. That is the only difference. And maybe I might have added a little bit of length here. I just knit until I ran out of yarn. So mine might be a little bit longer, and I think the ribbing is 2 inches instead of 1.5 inches. But yeah, other than that, I really like it. What I would do differently, maybe, I think if I had have just knit the small, not the medium, and the only difference, besides the extra cast on stitches under the arms, the only other difference between the small and the medium is 4 extra stitches here and here at the back. So that would have just pulled everything in just a smidge, I guess 6 stitches per inch. That would have brought it in, you know, 3/4 of an inch, just a tiny bit. Maybe that would have made a difference to this not flaring as much, probably not, but you know, just that would have just had a little bit further to travel. Look, it's not horrible. Like as I move around, you know, I think it's okay. Yeah, the only thing that sometimes I worry about with a mock neck, and this is just my own personal kind of uncertainty with mock necks, is especially if I have to wear a strapless bra that kind of falls down just a tiny bit, it feels like a really long way from here to my bust, and it somewhat gives to me a bit of a visual that my boobs are like further down, like saggier than they actually are, just because this is such a large thing. So I feel like I'm kind of like pushing the bra up a bit, like, come on, my boobs aren't that low. So anyway, I think it's okay, but it just, maybe it's just a, what do you call it? Like a, what is that called? Just that kind of visual perception of the amount of distance here makes it look like everything's dropped down. Anyway, maybe that's just me. I'll put down down here exactly what the finished bust measurement was, and length, and what it weighs as well. But it was just pretty much one skein of Wollmeise twin, which is around 150 grams. But sometimes those skeins are a little bit heavy, so I'll put all the details of just how many grams it was, and I am actually thinking about making another one. So yeah, I'm happy enough with it. And so I'm obviously wearing it just with jeans at the moment, but the plan for me was to wear it with a white skirt. So if I get a chance before I edit this video, I'll take a photo of myself in a white skirt with this and put it up here, just so you can sort of see how I would actually, you know, how I'd plan to be wearing it. Yeah, so that's it for my finished objects. Now I will talk about my whips. So I'll start with the Musselburgh because it's easy to grab. I don't think I've made a lot of progress on it. This is my Musselburgh hat. It's my 16th Musselburgh hat. I'm knitting it on 3.25mm needles. I've increased to 136 stitches, and I'm using Hedgehog Fibres skinny singles in a colorway that was exclusive to my local yarn store, Skein Sisters. So that's one work in progress. And actually, you probably noticed I didn't have any new whips. I usually start with my new whips. I don't have any new whips on the needles, which I think is a good thing because I had so many. And I'd like to, you know, obviously I've finished 2 now, and I'm really trying to get these done. Let me see, what else have I got to show you? I'm just going to put a tank on, and I'll show you my Ranunculus and my Cumulus. Right, so this is my third Ranunculus. I'm knitting this out of Berroco Remix in the colorway Eggplant. So the first two Ranunculus sweaters or tops that I made, I used lace weight held double, or 2 strands of lace weight. With the orange one, it was the same silk mohair held double, and with the first green one that I did, it was like an alpaca silk held with a silk mohair. So this is my first one using just like a regular worsted sort of Aran yarn, and it's kind of an unusual yarn. It's a cotton recycled yarn blend, so there's no wool in this at all. It's pretty oversized, so I've followed the pattern using, you know, like a tubular cast on with a 3.75mm needle, switch to a 5mm needle, then a 6mm needle for the body. But I reckon I've got to be over gauge, or maybe not. The sweater is actually meant to be really big, so I think this is just more true to the pattern size, whereas my other ones have been a bit smaller. My gauge was definitely smaller for my lace weight ones, whereas this one seems to be. So I'll stand up and show you. I've done one sleeve. It's not blocked yet, and I'm still going, so it's still on the needles. I did one sleeve just to kind of, you know, work out if that was kind of what sorry about the dog barking, hopefully he'll stop soon. Just letting everybody know that the same builders who've been here all day are walking up the driveway again. Same people, but it's like he's never seen them before. So this one I haven't done yet. I just did 3 rows. I picked up the stitches, did 3 rows, and then did 5 rows of half twisted rib. And yeah, so I'm just working down the body now. I've got plenty of yarn for what it is. I think, you know, making short sleeves, and I think the sleeve only took 7 grams. So I've got this left and probably another 30 grams or more. Yeah, so I reckon that's going to be, I am really sorry about the dog. He's a lovely boy, but he's 13 and he's, yeah, I think he's getting a little bit demented. Now it is obviously really oversized, and I haven't blocked it, so it's probably even going to grow more, and either I'll wear it, or if this might be another one for Mia if she likes it. I don't think Alex would wear this, but I think Mia might like this because she quite likes this sort of purple color. So yeah, maybe we'll see, but I reckon this one will almost certainly be finished for next week, given 6mm needles, sleeves. The sleeve took me like half an hour, and yeah. Anyway, that's the Ranunculus, and I did put the, hang on, here we go. That's the only danger when you don't put things on cords. Just have to be a bit more careful when you take things off. Okay, so that's Ranunculus. That's my 3rd whip. My 4th whip is, see, even though I still have plenty of whips, my 4th whip is the Cumulus tee. I've put it back on the needles, and I think I am going to finish, well, I know I'm going to finish it. Either I'll wear it or Mia will, but I actually think it's going okay now. I think I panicked myself a little bit, but I've blocked this out now. I will tidy that up a little bit with some extra yarn, just the sort of slight holes where I picked up. And I actually picked up 1 for 1 there, so I think it was just a little bit of the nature of the cast on. You can see there's a little bit of a gapping there, so I'll definitely, I'll just take some, and I'll show you how that ends up, right? Because, you know, like I'll probably take a strand of yarn and pick up a little bit along here and close those up and tidy that up a little bit. And yeah, so it's oversized, but it doesn't look as crazy oversized as it did in the beginning. So yeah, and now it's like it's just full stockinette all the way down. It'll take a while because the gauge is something like 10 rows per inch. And I've got, let me see, I've got this and 2 more balls, and the sleeves are reasonably long too. They're sort of elbow length, so we'll see how we go. But I am definitely going to be working on this again now. So once I finish the Ranunculus, I'll be working on this one, the Cumulus tee. And what's left? Hang on, sorry, I do have my notes in front of me on my, oh, I do have the mitts for Mia. I did fix where I had that little hole. I went back, and I've only just sort of moved up to where I was before. So I'm still on the first mitt, and I'm only about 3 rows into doing the thumb. So there's still a bit to go there. And I might even try and do a little bit of that this afternoon while there's still some daylight, because it is black yarn. So, and I'll show that next week. There's been no progress since last week. I'll show it next week. Hopefully there'll be some then. Right, so that's it for my works in progress. I will do a faux from the vault. Right, my faux from the vault is a top, but it's also a sweater pattern, so it's either a top or a sweater, and it's called Just Nicole, and it's by Kate Oates. So the yarn that I used is Lorna's Laces Swirl DK, and I made this in 2018, so 5 years ago, but I've had the yarn since 2010, so deep stash yarn for this one. I made this one for my daughter Alex, so in 2018 she was, do some math, 13, and I don't think she ever wore it actually. She sort of said she might, but I think she was at that stage of just really moving out of things that mum had made her, yes, and very much becoming more of her own, you know, wearing what she wanted to wear, and knitwear just wasn't really it for her. So I clawed it back, just more in terms of like, if you're not going to wear it, that's fine, but maybe I'll put it back in my wardrobe. So let me see, I'll show you. It's quite a sweet sweater. It's got this like, it's got something called deep garter, which is maybe like 3 rows of knit and a row of purl. And it's got this, sorry if you can hear that noise in the background. It's got this little lace detail on the side. It's got a dropped hem. Yeah, I think it's really sweet actually. I really like it. It's very casual. It's probably the kind of thing that I would wear with, you know, with jeans. I do apologise for that noise. Anyway, I'm going to stop apologising. I hope it's not bothersome. It's hopefully enough in the background. Yeah, anyway, back to this top. I think it was only about like 400 and, well, I'll put in the thing what it weighed, and I'll put a link in the pattern to my project page in the show notes. Yeah, I actually really like it. And as I was looking at the pattern page to link everything for today, and you know, just get the details and whatever, I had another look at the jumper and thought, oh yeah, I could see myself making another version of this in a long sleeve in a jumper. So yeah, I think it's really sweet. So that's my faux from the vault, and I might just keep that on because it's kind of nice. And I guess actually, now I think about it, I'm wearing a tank underneath, but it's not, because of where the lace panel is, I think it's not, like, you definitely can wear it without a tank underneath because it doesn't come into the, well, I suppose you'd still see the bra. As long as you're wearing a nude bra, it'll be all right. Yep, anyway, okay, so that's Just Nicole by Kate Oates. So purchases, I don't have any purchases for the week, I'm proud to say, but plans, I do have lots of plans. So no purchases, but plans. So I did a swatch for the Field Sweater by Camilla Vad. Now I'm not getting gauge. So before I finished before blocking, I got 23 stitches and 30 inches, 23 stitches and 30 rows over 4 inches, and after blocking it was exactly the same. Now the pattern gauge is 20 stitches, so I've got my calculator. If I knit the smallest size, which is, now the interesting thing though is I did get row gauge. So row gauge, I think, or close, the row gauge is like 28 rows and I got 30, so not too far off. So in terms of the yoke depth, mine would be pretty similar to what's in the pattern, maybe a tiny bit smaller. And the smallest size is a 37. So if I do 37 and then I divide by 23 and times by 20, that's 32 inches. So if I knit the 37 size and if I stay true to that gauge, it will turn out 32 inches, which is no ease at all. I wouldn't mind a little bit of ease in that sweater. So like 23 to 20 is a bit of a substantial difference, but I think everything, like the details of the little, you know, fields of wheat, I guess, whatever they are, will just be a little bit smaller. And that's okay. So I'm still thinking about that one. So obviously I didn't get gauge, but I just have to figure out what size in terms of how much ease I want. I'm not sure what the next size up is. I'll take a look and see, maybe just knitting one size up. And even though I've got 23 with wear, it'd probably stretch out to about 22. So the 37, and I think it is top down, which means this is where I actually take a good look at the pattern and I look at what's the difference between the first two sizes. And sometimes there's not a whole lot of difference. Like in the Audrey top, no, not the Audrey top, in the mini mock neck tank, the biggest difference between the small and the medium was just the number of cast on stitches under the arms. So it may not matter that much because it's top down. You can kind of do a little bit of, you know, wiggling, you know, try it on, see what the arm side depth is, see, you know, check your gate, see if as I'm knitting the whole thing, because we know on the, well, I know, if you've been watching, you know, on that Cumulus tee, my washed gauge was 27 of my swatch, but then when I actually washed the final garment as I was knitting it, it turned out to 24, which is vastly different. Now that doesn't happen that often. Obviously with this particular yarn and silk and everything it did for me, but I don't usually have that experience with wool. Anyway, we'll see. But I am planning on making that. So that's one of my plans, the field sweater. Another plan would be to make another mini mock neck tank, maybe not straight away, but I would like to, either using this yarn, which is the Willow Western Sky Knits Willow. It's a sport weight actually, so we'll see either that one, but it's got, see that better? It's a nice pretty pink. This one's actually quite, well, it is different to the, it's different, sort of a softer blue. But that is the Madeline Tosh 80-10-10, so MCN fingering in the colorway Bloomsbury. So I've got plenty of this one. The pink one, I think I've only got just over 400 meters. So we'll see. That one might end up being a bit too cropped. But I think if I make it again, I'll just make the small. So that would steal an extra, like 8 stitches total, front and back. So that would give me a little bit more yarn for length. So yeah, maybe I'll make the pink one. You know, it's quite a nice bright color. Let me see what else. Oh, no, I'll talk about it later. The other thing was Exploration Station. I haven't actually started yet, but I did make the smallest amount of progress, and that is I wound a skein. So that is my new yarn from Swish Yarns, the sort of apricot-y color, and I wound the ball. Woohoo! So I'm ready to start. But yeah, still haven't started yet, but it is going to be a work in progress soon. Let me see, is that it? Oh no, one more thing. The Anna Tea. Excuse me. I think I'm going to make the, I'm not sure if I'll start it this week, but this is actually really lovely and soft. This is Drover and Classer that I picked up from the Bendigo Ship and Wool Show, and it's a 5-ply sport weight yarn, and it says on a 3.75mm needle I should be getting 24 stitches. So I haven't swatched yet, but I will at least swatch for that. That's the colorway Vintage Rose. So even if Cumulus doesn't work out, that's very similar. Anyway, hopefully the Anna T will work out. It's got a saddle shoulder. It's got like, I really like that detail. I have very slopey shoulders. So designs that actually make my shoulders look, see, even this one, I don't know what it is about this design. Maybe it's the garter stitch, but it makes my shoulders look less like that and a little bit more like I've got some shoulders. Excuse me. Yes, so the Anna T with the saddle shoulder might make me look a little bit broader, which is okay because I am quite narrow in the shoulders. Right, that's it for my plans coming up. The knit along. I'm just gonna have a drink of water. Right, so we're doing a knit along where you can pretty much knit whatever you want. We started off sort of thinking a PetiteKnit pattern or PetiteKnits pattern or a my favorite things pattern or any other pattern that I've mentioned at all in this podcast. But basically, I don't really mind. Just anything that you'd like to make and you'd like to share. If you can use the hashtag mostly knitting YouTube Cal and put that tag on Instagram, then I'll get to see what you're making and I'll get to, you know, I get to follow you as well. So, and I didn't, so I'm a little bit slack. It's only been 5 days since I last recorded, so I haven't checked to see if there are any more projects, but I will do so certainly by next week. And then, so please, you know, just post them as you're making them. It doesn't have to be finished. And then I can show little pictures of them here and mention you. So, and if you don't want that, you can always send me a message on Ravelry. Like if you don't want me to show it, send me a message on Ravelry and let me know you're participating in the knit along and what the project is, and then I can go look at your projects page. Right. Hidden whips basket. I am not going to do that this week because I kind of feel like the Cumulus tea sort of fits that bill. It's been sitting in a basket, not the hidden whips basket, but just like one of my drawers for at least a month, if not longer. So I feel really proud of myself that I've pulled it out and I'm going to finish it. So it didn't make it into the hidden whips basket, so I'm not going to pull anything else out of there. I'm just sort of treating that like that, a rescued whip that could have gone south, that I will finish. And other craft, none this week, no sewing or crochet or anything. I was thinking actually maybe for my next faux from the vault, I might show you something crochet, because it's like I talk about crochet and as if I've ever done any. And I have done quite a bit, so I might show that next week for faux from the vault. I think that's it for all of my knitting and my plans and crafting. So I'm going to get on to the personal stuff. Well, last week, so my last video was on whatever day I recorded, Saturday. I was doing my editing and I got a phone call from my daughter's boyfriend saying the two of them were driving in separate cars and he was going sort of off an off ramp and she was continuing on, and he hurt, that was at that speed, they're going 80 kilometers an hour, which is 50 miles an hour. And he heard a crash and he looked in his rear view mirror and her car was flipping. And she had a really big car accident, and a car had broken down at this speed. So it's 2 lanes and then a third lane exiting where my daughter's boyfriend was exiting. There was a car broken down and she hadn't seen that it had broken down. I think it had only just broken down, may or may not have had the hazards on, but she's new to driving by herself and she didn't see it until too late. She clipped the back corner of the car and then at that speed flipped over and landed or hit another car and landed on her driver's side. And she couldn't get out. It was extremely scary. So he called me telling me this. And so I was like, right, you know, call my husband, get straight down there. And thankfully, someone had stopped and she was a nurse and she got Alex's phone and called me and said she's okay. Like that sort of allowed me to, because when you hear that your daughter's car has rolled over, like that's in that location at that kind of speed, that could be fatal. And so she's completely fine. She is completely fine. A little traumatized emotionally, so she has driven since then, but was and thought in her head she would be fine, but she was actually quite activated, as you can understand, because even if when you've been through a trauma, even if your head says I'm fine, your body knows you're not fine, or your body still remembers the event. And so she only just drove like locally a few k's last night, but she was pretty like edgy, and I said, okay, it'll take a little bit of time. Anyway, so we arrived and the ambulance was there, and she had actually managed to crawl out the rear, crawl out the rear hatch, and the people in the other cars were all fine. I was worried that the person who'd broken down might have had their seatbelt off when she hit them, but I don't think they did. I think they'd only just broken down. So that was full on, and I found, like, we spent Saturday night at the hospital just getting her, not overnight, just getting her checked out and everything. Went home Saturday night, and then on Sunday I was just a mess. Like I thought I was fine, like she was fine, but I think all of that, you know, that momentary panic of like, I might have lost her, just overwhelming. And so I was like getting groceries for the week, because I started back at school on Monday, and I was just walking around the grocery store, you know, like pretty much bawling. Like I was trying not to be, but I was just like crying, and people were like looking at me like, and then I ran into someone that I knew and I was like, yeah, fine, don't worry about it. Like, I wasn't, you know, anyway, it was not, and I'm still processing it, I think. So it was a real near miss. The car is a write-off, a complete write-off, and but it fully saved her. I'm going to put a picture up of it. So if you're a little bit, if that might trigger you or upset you, please feel free to look away. But that was how her car ended up after the accident. And I'm so grateful that my husband, when we were buying, because we bought a car for the kids, and it was Mia's car, now it's Alex's, well, don't have it anymore, but it was Alex's car, and then it was going to go down to Zach when he got his license. And my husband was like, you know, we don't want them driving your dad's old little hatchback, you know, little older car. Because when he'd stopped driving, that was sort of available. And he's like, no, that's not safe enough. We need something that's really sturdy. So the car that she was driving was a Citroen Cactus. It had these really crazy things on the side, like looked like Lego things on the side of it. But it was really, the cage was really solid and really sturdy. And it protected her and saved her life. And I'm so grateful. So she's fine, but it's still a bit shaky because she's only 18. Anyway, like that was Saturday. She was back at work on Monday, 7 a.m. looking after little kids. So she's a real trooper. She was a little bit sore and a bit shaken up, but she's fine. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that we still have her and that she's completely wasn't physically hurt at all. So it has been a bit of a weird first week back. So it's Thursday today. I've had just school the last few days. Today's my day off. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into running. I did, like I ran a lot on the cruise. It was actually really nice running on the cruise when you're in a gym, and although I do like running outside, but at the moment in the morning, it's when I would normally run, it's 5 degrees, Celsius, which is about 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty cold. So I went for a run today when it had warmed up a little bit to about 15 degrees Celsius. That was a little bit more civilized. So back running again. We've got cards tonight with our friends. It's Thursday night, and so that will be nice. We haven't done that in about a month. So sort of settling back into a routine. It'll be a busy week, a busy term for me at school leading up to my Year 12 students doing their HSC in October. So it's a lot of time spent helping them revise. And I'm also doing this thing called Experienced Teacher, which is a lot of admin to submit something saying I'm at this level. So yeah, a fair bit of work that will actually keep me quite busy. So I'm going to really keep trying with the 1 podcast a week and 1 tutorial during the week. But I'll just see how we go. If it happens, if I get really busy, I might miss one here or there. But I'll really try because I am really enjoying this. I think that's kind of it for the week. We will be now spending time finding another car for Alex to drive. In the meantime, a fair bit of running her around because she's taking the semester, at least a semester, if not a year, off uni, and working in childcare to sort of see, because she's doing primary education, and she, for some kids they just need a bit of time off. They're not really ready to go straight into school and then another study environment. So I think it'll be good for her to have a year off and working in childcare. And she will be studying, so she'll be doing a Certificate 3 in early childhood. So there will be a little study component, but it will be, not a huge amount, and mostly working. Yeah. And everyone else is fine. I'm fine still, just kind of like processing after Alex's accident, and just, really grateful that she's okay. All right, hope everyone has a great week, and I'm sure I'll put out a tutorial during the week, and then I'll be back recording again next week. So, yep, see you later and take care. Bye.